Behind every remarkable front stage performance is a team of ordinary people combining their talents to create extraordinary results. Join us as we go behind the curtain of selling homes and helping agents build better businesses to discuss the ideas, the principles, and the strategies that empower our Century 21 support team to maximize their potential and thrive in their unique abilities. Welcome to the Backstage. Oh yeah, we got our first Backstage podcast with, I would say, 3 of my favorite people. Can I say that?
Wow.
Yes.
Yes.
I say that every time. I'm kidding.
Noticed.
We won't tell the others. No, you don't. I listen to all of them. You don't.
Welcome, ladies. With me is, I'll just have you go
Oh,
around.
it's Abbie.
And this is Anna.
And Vic.
No titles.
No.
Everybody knows who we are.
Hopefully. Yes.
Look us up.
Well, welcome to, we called it the Backstage. I really love that. And because that's what we are. We are working behind the scenes, behind the curtain for our front stage production, which is where we create value for our real estate agents, our crazy, what do we call them? Rugged individuals?
Rugged individuals.
So guys, if you are listening in and you don't know what the heck we're doing here, the Backstage series podcast, I guess, is for our staff. It's for our Backstage team members to try to figure out how we can do a better job of thriving in our roles and in our positions, but yeah, in the crazy world that we live in. And there's no better topic to start off with than this 2 economies and 2 success decisions. So if you're an agent and you're listening in, just think of yourself as getting a sneak peek behind the curtain. Yeah, but this isn't for you, okay? So if we're talking, if we're talking about you, it's because we're talking about you.
There's a whole nother podcast just
we don't
for
name
them.
names, but yeah.
They have like 5 of their own series.
Yes. This is ours.
A week ago, I released a episode on the 2 economies and the 2 success decisions.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, did you 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was only
Sure
like 20
did.
minutes
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
Now, the 2 economies and the 2 success decisions was new to any of you in any way?
No.
I'm trying
Part
to
of
think.
Rethink.
We did Rethink years ago.
Yes.
And I imagine it's not new to a lot of our staff, but what we've never really done is have a conversation about this backstage.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I'm excited to cover this. The maybe 2 areas of focus that I'm interested in today. The first is, let's summarize the 2 economies and the 2 success decisions for anyone that didn't listen to it yet. But I'm interested in 2 ideas. The first is, as then time and effort team members in the backstage, how do we do a better job of working alongside our results economy, crazy real estate agent partners? And I think that's interesting. The second one is, what is results economy thinking? Results economy mindset.
Yeah.
What does that look like for us on the backstage as time and efforts economy team members? So can we just start with the definitions real quick?
Yes.
Time and efforts economy. Who wants to take a stab at that? So let's start at the very top. There are 2 economies, not one. Actually, this is just made up language. But we believe that there's 2 worlds. The one is the time and effort economy, and the other is the results economy. Time and effort. Who wants to take a stab?
I always think of it as clock in, clock out. Just as someone who spent a lot of years in retail and customer service, just you clock in, you do your job, you clock out, and you go home, and that's it. You don't need to do more than that.
It's interesting because some jobs you get to clock in at 8 and leave at 5, or you're hourly and however many hours you work. But some positions, you take your work home with you still.
Yeah.
So is that
Clock in, clock out to me is it reflects the mindset there. Like
Got
once
it.
I'm done, I'm done. And
And you're exchanging that work.
I still get my paycheck.
your
I still
paycheck.
get my whatever.
Yes.
Benefits, all that stuff.
They're directly correlated.
Because
the
I
time,
showed up.
Yes.
I literally, my butt was in a seat, so I did what I needed to do.
whether that seat's at home or
Yes.
at an office doesn't matter.
Literally doesn't matter. Yeah, it's the job.
You
and
also had
mindset.
very little control over what you do during those hours.
Yeah.
Somebody's usually telling you what to do.
You're a cog
But
in a
it's
machine,
also
maybe.
very low risk.
Yeah.
As you said, you know when your paycheck is going to come, you know how much you're going to get paid, you can budget, you can guide your lifestyle after that.
There's no need to do more because you will always be where you are.
Yep.
I'm exchanging my time and my efforts, and I added to that my skills and my talents, which is really, what I'm bringing
Yep.
in the time and the effort.
Your labor. Yeah.
I'm exchanging that for a paycheck, whether that's hourly, whether it doesn't really matter how that's working, clock in, clock out.
And not literally maybe clock in,
But
clock
I get
out,
what
but
you're
to me
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's stability, security,
Yeah.
it's consistency.
Yeah.
But what you touched on there is there's a trade-off. And the trade-off is I'm not my own boss.
Yeah.
And to some extent, whether good or bad, I might be in a great work environment, I might be in a negative one, but either way, I'm subordinating my 40 hours a week to somebody else's intentionality for my day or my life.
Yes.
They have a mission, the company does,
Yep.
and I'm exchange. What'd you say?
A small part of it, like not necessarily invested.
Something's wrong with my
but-
ears. I think I'm sick. I heard ornament.
No, that's probably me. Just all the congestion.
Okay, so that's time and effort economy.
Yes.
And then we've got these crazy, rugged individuals that live in something completely different called sorry, I got to say one more thing. Time and effort, not good, not bad, necessary.
Yes.
It's where most people live. It's what a job is. And frankly, it's what 90% of the world's population would prefer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Psycho crazy people like the clients we serve.
Yes.
Yep.
Step out of
Realtors.
that into the results economy. Help me with that definition.
I was gonna say that they just do a bunch of work and they might not get paid for it right
Yeah.
away. So they're working towards the end goal, which in our industry is obviously to close on the house or get the transaction put together. But that doesn't look linear like what Abbie just described. Like it can be all over the place. It can be all hours of the day. It can be a whole lot of work for very little pay. They're not directly correlated. Whereas, the time effort is almost like, I think of it like a chart, a graph, you can correlate the two. In the results economy, it is your chart's all over because it is not correlated to your paycheck necessary. You're putting the work in, and you only get paid when it comes
When you win.
Yes, when you win. Yeah.
If you win.
If you
win, yeah. But you're working for you. You're working for your dreams and goals, right? Like you choose your own schedule, your own time.
Good and bad, right?
Yeah, and so you don't know when you get paid, but also you could get paid a ton.
Yeah.
It's about the
So
time.
higher risk, right?
Yeah.
We said for the last one was pretty low risk.
Return service to yourself
Yeah.
versus serving somebody else's dream, right?
Yes.
Which I think is a big draw for a lot of people in that space.
Yes.
Okay, so the reason we cover this with our agents, as you heard in that brief podcast, is because if you don't understand that you're in the results economy and you don't understand the rules of the results economy, you're not going to make it as an agent.
Yeah.
And when you're in the results economy, 2 success decisions that they have to make: one, to depend on themselves, their inputs, their effort for their ultimate success or failure. And the second, to have no entitlement, to expect no opportunity unless they first create results. And I think it's maybe intuitive why we need to teach them that.
Yes.
We need to help them understand that. And we've covered that topic.
Yes.
What we've not talked about is why it's important for staff to understand this distinction.
Yeah.
So I'll start with that question.
Yeah.
Why is it important for all of our team members to understand the difference between these two worlds, and how does that help them?
Yeah.
There's always tension there, right?
Well, yeah. As I say, some of the conversations I have sometimes when, let's say an agent, it's Friday, it's late in the day, they are so excited because they got a new listing and they finally got that signature so we can put it up. However, it's 30 minutes till our time and effort team member goes home. We have conversations about like, why is it important to get this done for them, and try to put them in that mindset of, well, this is how, like, you get a paycheck whether or not you put this listing up. They do not. If you can get this listing live so they can show it, so they can sell it, so they can serve their clients right, like those are all the things that needs to happen. And then maybe at the end when it does sell and close, they'll get paid. So I think it's important for them to understand how that work and why that's important, I guess.
I was going to say with any two different mindsets in the world, whether it's religion or politics or whatever, the number one key to moving forward and being successful in both worlds is to be empathetic to the other side. So for our staff to understand that agents, where their mind is, and vice versa, for our agents to understand our staff that, hey, they've been at the office for 8.5 hours, skipped their lunch break, doing all these things to try to get everything done within their allotted workday. Understanding each other's positions is also going to help them work together towards a solution. And sometimes that means giving and taking a little bit from what might not be ordinarily accepted within your mindset. I think it's important that we understand both of those.
There's always going to be conflict between the two, right? Not conflict, literally, you're not fighting, but like the tension, the push-pull of your staff member. I work 8 to 5, I'm supposed to be on my lunch break, or I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to prioritize something else, and then this person calls me and I have an open house tomorrow and I need a sign today. And you're like, okay, well, you should have planned better, right? I mean, I would never say that actually, but
No, but that's what goes through their
that's
mind.
the
Yes.
intention. That's the initial reaction, and it's 100% what you said is putting yourself in their shoes, and understanding what it is they need. It's losing that focus on yourself and how it impacts you, and focusing on the bigger outcome, which is helping your agent win, right? Because they are the client, and when they win, you win.
Yep.
Well, and their client. So think about that. They have a client to serve as well. And that client is also probably living more in the same mindset as our agent is, I don't care what it takes. I need my house sold. And that could mean putting an open house up at 9 p.m. the night before we're doing an open house, whatever that looks like.
Well,
they don't care.
Yeah.
And they promise to get that done.
Yeah.
But they aren't in control of getting it done. They're relying on our staff members to get it done.
Yeah, the stakes are so high.
Yeah.
And the stakes are so high for the seller or the buyer. Massive. You could be tens of thousands of dollars. The capacity to be with your children or not be with your children.
Yeah.
It's just life altering stakes that our agents have been working months and months and months to procure that opportunity to win this person. They've competed with other people. They've bled, they've sweat, they've crawled, they've done everything, and it was tense and it was scary and it was hard.
Emotions
They
were high.
finally won, and then they're coming into a context where there's an administrative thing that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And we're not able to see all that sweat.
Yes.
Right.
We're not able to, what we get to see sometimes? The
An
big
paycheck.
commission checks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We see big commission checks, but what we don't understand is how much risk and how many losses there were. Like
Yes.
we see the one that they get. We don't see all the ones that they sweat and toiled and bled for that canceled at the last minute and they just bought with somebody else.
Yeah.
So I love where you're at. There's a lot of words floating around. Tension, conflict, empathy. These are all kind of where I want to go. So let's just jump into this first topic. And I think I want to start with a few things just for our staff.
Yep.
First, you are in the time and effort economy.
Yeah.
And frankly, no, I'm not. As the owner of a company, I'm not. Because if I don't make sure you guys are all happy as staff members, if I don't make sure our agents are happy and we don't sell houses, I don't pay my bills.
Right. Yeah.
And that's a big deal. So I live in the results economy, but I also work with my team here in a time and effort world. And I want to start with saying our first goal with our staff is to protect your time and effort
Yes.
world. You did not make that trade-off. You did not decide to step across the barrier of risk into the results economy. For that reason, you don't get to make those commission checks.
Right.
But you also don't get to have to take that work home with you. You also, so we work, and you guys know this, we work hard to protect our team
Yes.
from the
bleed
that's
over.
not, that's not what they signed up for.
Yeah.
No.
And I think our agents do a good job of that too.
They do a really
I
good
think
job.
our agents are terrific
respect
at
it. Yeah.
protecting our staff.
Yeah.
And why? Because I think they see that you value them
Yeah.
and they believe you're valuable, and so they want you to flourish.
Yep.
But okay, point number one, you are in the time and effort economy. Let's not be fooled. This is a results economy world, though,
Yes.
that we're living in. And our agents do not live in that same world. They do not get to punch out.
Right.
They do not get a paycheck. There is no guaranteed outcome for them. And so, yeah, like you said, the cold front is what I'm picturing. It's where these two worlds collide,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where tension
Yeah.
starts to show up. So I love what you said, Anna, about empathy. I feel like that's a big word here. Empathy is about understanding and being able to maybe connect with or feel or sense or collaborate with the other world and what they're engaging in. So,
Yep.
So let's just dig into this real quick. What I'm interested in topic 1 is how our staff can do a better job.
Yeah.
And what we need to understand as we deal with our clients who we love, who are also crazy, because they're in the results economy. Where do we see breakdowns occur is maybe where I want to start. Where do we see a problem with this?
Yeah.
So you brought up an example, Vic, of late in the afternoon.
Late in the afternoon, yeah.
They need a listing turned in.
Yeah. So a lot of our staff are fairly black and white. Like, these are the rules and they need to be followed, right? So in this space, we have certain things that needs to be in order, and we've set parameters for if it's not submitted by 3, you are not responsible for putting it up. We've shared that with our agents, and that's how their brains work. It's like, okay, well, it's 4:00, so I mean, I can try, but so then when you put your empathy head on and you try to think through, and these are the conversations that we all have with our staff is, okay, so I understand they submitted it late. They would have gotten it to you if they could. Do you still have time to get this done? Because if you can, that is a huge impact on their world.
Well, if you can't,
Like they can't sell the house.
Well, what does the seller expect?
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So
You think it's just going to not be on the market all
Right.
weekend?
right.
Yep.
So I love the example you're using because
Yeah.
it's about our staff trying to protect good parameters. Like
Yes.
another example of this is you turn in paperwork and it's missing something.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And nothing pisses off a results economy person that has sweat and bled and crawled through glass to get to this point
Yeah.
than hearing, no, I can't do that.
I can't do
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
instead, we try to say, what can I do to help you get this done? Like, I would love to get this live for you. I just need this, this, and this. Like, let's get it done together. Let's be a team and
Well,
get it
and
done.
sometimes it does force our time and effort employees to put a little bit of a creative thinking
Yes.
cap on.
Yes.
Like, okay,
Find a solution.
find an off the beaten path
Yes.
solution that would not fit within our normal parameters of
Yes.
how we process a file, and think, okay, but I understand this agent is in this situation and their seller is feeling this way. Okay, and all I need is this one signature. What could I offer to do to make this path easier
Yes.
to get to the end result for my agents
There's
within
growth
my
there.
workday even?
Yes.
You know, how can we use the tools we have in our little toolbox?
Understanding that we as a team don't want you to have to go do this
Yes.
at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
Right.
That's not the goal.
Yeah.
But it also can't be that we say, oh, no, sorry, you're missing this field. We can't help you. That's where it really either, no, I can't turn it in, it's Friday afternoon. That is not a viable option.
No.
The seller will not accept that. The agent will not accept that. And if I'm that agent, I don't want to work for your company anymore.
No.
That doesn't work.
It's an opportunity to grow as a person, I think. When those things happen, it's a limiting mindset to go, well, there's nothing I can do about that. I don't have to help you.
Yeah.
When you're forced to think outside the box or be creative or helpful. And I mean, realistically, yes, there are 200 agents and 30 some staff members. How often is that happening? Like, how often does this one person need your help like that? You can spare the 30 minutes
Yeah.
to help them put together an ad or put the listing up or
Yeah.
whatever. It's not like every single day they're knocking down your door.
But then I think the problem and where some of the conflict comes then is there could be multiple actually.
Yes.
So
So
that
then
used to
then
happen
it's a
to
teaching
me.
moment. You get to go, yes, I would love to help you this time. Here's how we prevent this from happening the next time
That's
so that
good.
you are not
Yes.
inconvenienced, so that you are not waiting on me.
You,
or
the agent.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that we don't find you in a
That
position
you don't
where
have
you
to do
can't
this
get
every
it turned
time.
in.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, back to the conflict, you signed up for an 8 to 5, hypothetically, and at 5:15, you have a kid that has to be picked up somewhere,
Yes.
and that is the agreement that you signed up for.
Yes.
So you need to get this done. Also, you have a contract that you've signed up for that you've built your world around.
Yeah.
So it is a real tension. Now the good news is our agents we've trained them not to be entitled.
Right.
But like you said, sometimes there's a
Sometimes things
situation.
Yeah.
And maybe what I think is key here is it's not even just about whether we can or can't. Almost always we can.
Yeah.
It's about how we
Yes.
respond.
Yes.
And there's nothing, again, back to the inner, well, it's back to what we teach our agents. It's not about whether they sell or don't sell the house and whether they sell it for this price or that price. It's about how the client felt through the
Yes.
journey
Yes.
in the exact same way.
Yes.
It's about how we make our agents feel as our clients.
Yeah.
Yes.
How you
And so
respond.
it's about how we deal with that situation.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, not only what Abbie was saying about helping the agent in the moment, but also teaching them for the next time to avoid that problem happening again, is as we've grown as a company, I really think it's been fun in my journey in the last 10 years to see how our departments have continued to create processes that when we know there's going to be fires, we always know there's going to be a last minute fire. We have created and we've hired and structured positions so that we can be ready to go run towards those fires if something happens. For example, we have some remote staff members that help us and are meant to kind of help with spillover in times of need. Our broker department, if there's a document we're having trouble getting an answer and trying to work through an issue, we've got an incredible broker department. So it's been fun on the staff side to see how much that we've evolved as a company, to know that we have jobs to do, we have things to do and how we do it, but we always know there's going to be those moments where we have to just drop everything and figure out a solution. And so
you have to be comfortable living in the gray a little bit. And that's hard to teach people, because you do teach them this is the process or these are the rules. How do you teach somebody to live in the gray? They just kind of have to see it, observe it, and be okay with it. Like,
we're hiring 8 fact finders, 8 follow-throughs, and then we're telling them.
But you have to be okay with change constantly.
And we're saying deal with these
upheaval is going to happen.
And we don't want our ASCs and TCs living in like 9
Stress
quick
and
start
chaos.
world.
No.
Because this is what that's why we have them, to keep control.
Yes.
And yet,
but you got to live in the gray a little bit because of
the agents live in the gray.
And at the end of the day, although we're not in the results economy, we are in the net.
Yes.
Meaning, if you can't solve these problems one after the other, you lose sellers and buyers. And then you lose agents. And then you lose revenue. And then you lose salaries.
Yes.
And then you lose your job. And so it might not be imminent, like I didn't get the sale today like an agent. But in the end, here's what I believe. We all live in a results economy. I just don't think we know that. And I've never actually thought that through before. But it is an interesting way to view it.
Well, and I think, we teach our staff win-win thinking and value creation. And I think this is where you can be a black and white rule follower with the right mindset that then makes it seem more gray area. So in the 8 years I've been here, just with our staff growing, we've developed a lot of ways. So this is so specific, but there's ways to put a listing up and save it, go home at 5, and then Anna or I can make it live after hours. Like, we've found ways to make both worlds collaborate and have win-win thinking.
Yeah, so help me just sum some of this up. I've heard you got to be a little bit comfortable living in the gray. I've heard maybe don't say no, but say how. Like find a solution. Because at the end of the day, although we have a kid to pick up, it is also true that they have a listing that does need to be turned in. And if we have a repeat offender and they are disrespectful and they are not conscientious of our team, and then I think they need to be redirected. But generally speaking, that is not what we have here. No. What we do sometimes have is staff members maybe a little too black and white and forgetting who they're dealing with on the other side.
I think that's a better way of saying it. Nobody's, I assume nobody's maliciously going, I'm not going to do that. You just forget. You do forget. You get the email and you go, oh, don't they know that I have? Like, no, they don't know that you have 20 other things to do.
Probably our number one way to improve on or help our staff grow is that if we hire, which everybody that we hire in our staff come from other jobs, and it's so accepted there that you clock in, you clock out, you do the job that's asked of you and nothing more, and you get your paycheck. So when we're interviewing these people and we're trying to feel out, it's really hard to get to the bottom of we know that once they get inside of our walls that there's some additional training, and it's not that there's anything wrong with them. It's just what the world's told them is accepted.
We don't want to hire rugged individuals for our administrative backstage positions, but you have to be open to embracing a part of the results economy to thrive in this organization. Because we are ultimately a results economy, non-bureaucratic or team, which maybe gets us to our second topic.
It's a mindset shift.
Yes, and maybe to close this one out, just in however many years, 15 to 20, 10, what do you know, 5 years, you've lived in our world now for a while. You've dealt with the backstage and the front stage, and you've dealt with results economy people that we serve, and time and effort economy mindsets, and not just mindsets, but realities. We live in a time. Any other thoughts just on the keys, the secret here to success as a team member in our organization? Anything else you can say that would help people understand, okay, here's how to thrive in this team?
Yeah. I think it's a lot about mindset and knowing that you can be a time effort person. You can come in at 8 and you can leave at 9, but you can come alongside these rugged individuals and actually help serve them with the right mindset. So winning to me does look like empathy. Win-win thinking. Put yourself in their shoes, which is empathy, but understand and know that we have awesome staff and we have awesome agents. We're talking about one-offs a little bit. If things could be turned in at certain times, they would.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, like understand why we're here. So yeah, win-win thinking, empathy.
It sounds terrible, but as you were saying that, I was imagining a terrible, terrible thought experiment where after a month of work, we just said to all of our team members, sorry guys, this month we're not getting paid. This one didn't work out. we lost the sale.
Yeah, we lost.
And you'd look at us and go, what are you talking about? That's not, well, this is what they deal with every day.
Yeah.
They can lose every sale every time. And so back to empathy and understanding and thinking, what would you add?
I would just say if I had to boil it down to just, what to help our staff is I think it boils down to your ability to deliver, to communicate. So we can communicate. It's so easy to communicate. Got your listing up, congratulations, or processed your commission, congrats on your sale. But you also have the ability to communicate, deliver some not so good news, and how you can come alongside that, and so that it's received that you're on their team. So it all comes down to communication, maybe.
Side are you on?
Yeah, and how.
Because that's what they want, Anna. They when I hear complaints about this ever, seldom, but when it does happen, it's down to what you just said. Are you on my team?
Are you on my team?
Not?
Yeah.
Like whose side are you on?
Are you trying
to be a deal blocker?
Yes.
Yeah.
For crying out loud, I've gone out, I've hunted, I'm wearing a loincloth, I've got a spear, I killed a flicking woolly mammoth for you, I've drug it 6 miles home, and you're like, no, I'm sorry, we closed the gates 5 minutes ago.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
This metaphor
Are you on my team?
Yes.
I like this metaphor.
Well, I've taught you guys to think of our agents as our hunters.
Yes.
We're
It's a great
at
analogy.
the whatever.
We're at the farm, just waiting for the meat to come
I don't
back.
picture a farm. I picture like huts,
Hut,
like a
cave.
circle of huts.
Yes.
They're out hunting. They're dragging back the meat. And are we here to help them do that or not?
Yeah. I guess to take that one step further, a lot can be lost in translation over chat and email. A lot of times, one thing for our staff, if they're listening, I'm sure they are, picking up the phone in those times when your agents, when everything's on fire and this agent's in a really tough position, pick up the phone. Use words, voice to voice. That's how they know you're a real person. They're a real person. And you can break down the barrier, the things that are lost in communication. Because just sending an email that says, no, I can't help you, I'm missing this, that is not received well from the hunter that's been out there that is
Well, especially given the fact that they've got, blood on one hand and a spear in the other.
Yes.
So we need to own that the people we partner with, our agents, are not always good administrators.
Yeah.
They're not always
They're not
good with
supposed to be.
details. We don't want them
not
to
their
be.
job.
No.
Yeah.
We want them to be good at hunting.
Yes.
And so we have to take additional ownership of that communication is what is inside of what you're saying. And that shouldn't be a burden on us. We shouldn't go, oh, well, why the heck aren't they good at doing whatever?
It's your job to
You're
be good
not
at
good
that.
at doing what they're doing to
Yes.
bring home the bacon.
Yeah.
We're here to help make that work.
Sometimes my best relationships with agents, they get even better in those opportunities where I know there's a high tense
Trial by fire. You
yes,
bond.
and I can I'm gonna pick up the phone and we're gonna make this right now. And then
Yeah.
through that situation, we become even stronger, and I understand them better, and they understand
There's such
me
an impact
better.
when you say, how can I help you? What are
Yes.
we, like, I would love to do this. You can hear the change in their
It's an
voice. And they go, oh my God,
opportunity.
thank you for taking this off my plate.
Yes.
They're stressed
Yes.
and
Oh, it makes a huge
they're
difference.
fighting.
Yeah.
And
There's
they're
a
not fighting
sense-
you. They're fighting the
Yeah.
results economy.
Yeah.
But with that, Anna, too, I think comes longevity and relationships. So that's why
Yes.
we push for our staff to build relationships with the agents, pick up the phone, understand, because often you know someone really well and you can say, that does not sound like them.
Yeah.
I think something is getting lost
There's
in
more going
translation.
on here.
Yes.
There's more going on. Let's give them a call.
Yep.
You know your agent well. This is not something that they do. They clearly need our help even more now. So let's come alongside.
I like that. And if you don't know them well, get to know them
Yes.
well
Yes.
because they are who we're here to serve.
Yes.
How about you? Final thoughts?
I think mine are going to go into the next question. So I
Okay.
don't know if you want to get there.
No, I love it. Let's move on. So,
Just to,
I mean, what we've covered so far is how to serve our agents better. And most of this is like empathy, communication, really understanding the world they live in. So where I want to go next is, if there was a title, it would be developing a results economy mindset as a time and effort economy team member, right? And I'm trying to think of how best to tee this up. It's kind of what we've already said. One, we have jobs and we clock in, clock out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we live in a results world.
Yes.
Like nothing's guaranteed here. If we don't produce results, meaning if we don't recruit, retain great agents, and if we don't help them sell houses, we don't get to have the jobs that we have.
Right.
And this is not we're not a Fortune 500. We're a small, mid-sized, top workplace. But we're not, there's no bureaucracy here. We are a entrepreneurial environment.
Yeah.
And so because we're an entrepreneurial environment, serving highly entrepreneurial clients in a build a better business world, what we value is results economy thinking.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'll start there. How would you guys define what it means to have a results economy mindset? And we're talking about our staff now.
Yeah. Well, we chatted a little bit about this. It's ownership of the outcome, which we've talked generally, I think, in some staff meetings about this idea. And it organized my thoughts. It breaks out into a couple of different things. But I think of it as like taking the ball all the way down the court. Like not just doing your part and then passing it on. It's I'm invested in how this turns out. I want the agent to win. I want everybody to win. Win-win thinking, all of those things, right? So it's thinking above just what your part is and being willing to either go the extra mile or change the way that you are doing something, or just being willing to step outside your comfort zone even. And it ties into so many other things. It ties into like the no entitlement thinking. It's getting rid of that, well, that's not my job, or I shouldn't have to do that, or don't they know, or you know, whatever your natural reactions are. It's focusing less on yourself, like your part in it, and focusing on the bigger picture. Like what's the mission? What's the goal?
So I think to take that a step further, so, you know, we do as much as we try not to. There are other parts that are played on a transaction, for example. You kind of do, you know, ASCs play a part that's passed off to TCs, and then sometimes relo and accountings are involved at the very end, and then it's back to ASCs. And so it is kind of easy to like, oh, I did my part, I'm going to pass it on, and I don't know how to own the result necessarily. At the result, the ASCs, they're touching the file, but then the result to them is they see this big check, and they're like, wow, look at that. But what I think what's helping us bridge that divide is to teach, in this example, our ASCs, what TCs and accounting and brokers are doing.
You have to know all the pieces of the
puzzle. If you know all the
Yeah.
parts that are coming together that have to make the magic happen, that actually helps you see that end result.
Stop thinking in a silo.
Yes, and you see the part you play and how important it is to understand what it takes to get there, so that you actually are excited at the end as well.
Awareness of it. The first time, you probably remember this, the first time that I had to be forced to think this way was in the recruiting space. You came down one day, it was 3 years ago, and we were shifting into the Google Ads space and all of that. And you had told me, it was Bonnie was here at the time, and you told us, I want you to put this on the whiteboard. I want you to track how many clicks you get on Google Ads every single day. And I want you to act like you're only going to get a paycheck this week if you hit a certain number. And we tracked, I tracked every single day for a month. And it's a visual thing in front of you, right? It forces you to think about, and I realized that's not working with agents, is not putting ads up, but that thinking started to manifest right in front of me, visually. It doesn't matter how much work you put into it. If you're not getting the outcome that you want, or you're not winning, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
You have to adjust. You have to take it all the way through, right? You have to think all the way through to the end result, not just the beginning of it, not just your part of it, which is a shift that follows you everywhere. It's actually kind of annoying. Everywhere you go in life, at home, in your relationships, you start to think you encounter people who go, well, I did what I could, and then I hit a roadblock. And then I'm sure you guys think, well, what else did you do? Yeah. Did you try this? Did you think about this? That shift in mindset to ownership of the outcome follows you everywhere else you go. You start to notice it everywhere.
It bleeds everywhere.
Yes.
So before you jump in, there's so much that's been said already. So I just want to put some flags in the ground.
Yeah.
So flag number one that I heard No, I mean, there's just so much. I'm trying to give language to some of these ideas that we can start to camp on. I don't even mean in this conversation. I mean, forever.
Yeah.
I heard task. You didn't say the word task, but you were describing tasks. Task versus outcome. Sometimes what we do is we get stuck doing the things, the tasks that were assigned to us.
Supposed to happen, yeah.
And we go, well, I did this. An example of this would be, I'll go to my kids and I'll be like, hey, what I need you to do is I don't know, clean the garage. And then I'll come and see the finished product and I'm like, it's not right.
Yeah.
And I'll point out what's not right. And they'll go like, well, but we did all the things you told us to do. I'm like, well, no. What I told you to do was to make the end result a certain thing. So we get stuck on the tasks because we are task-oriented team members. Like we're 8 fact finders and 8 follow-throughs. So we look at the checklist and we're like, did, done.
Yes.
But you're not done until the result is accomplished.
Yes.
And we have to remind, so that's what I would call task versus outcome.
Yeah, I like that.
And I think we should get married to that language.
Yeah.
The second thing I heard was zooming out.
Yes, understanding the entire beginning to end.
Well, until you do that, you can't understand the outcome sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, what does a clean garage look like?
Yeah.
What do you actually imagine when you want it clean?
Yeah.
Because you did say, here's the 3 things that are included in that, but I didn't realize that there were 10 more that actually produce the outcome. When I think of zooming out, I think of mission focus. So if task versus outcome, then I go to mission. What is the actual mission here? What are we endeavoring to do? And then the final thing that you were talking about there, this idea of commission. I think, I forget exactly what I said to you, Abbie, but it was something like, and we say this lovingly backstage a lot, but like, hey, sorry, you're fired from this version of your job.
Yeah.
And
It's a push to make you start thinking about the results.
I said, you hypothetically, I want you to imagine you're not going to get a salary anymore. And the only way you earn money moving forward is if you can get this many leads to show up or this many clicks. And that wasn't true.
No,
but what it does
forces
is,
you.
well, you realize, hold on. Okay, so that exact example is what I want to do in relation to task versus outcome and zooming out to mission. If you understand the mission and you understand that it's not about the tasks, it's about the outcome, then the question comes, how can you train your brain to understand that what I'm paid for is producing outcomes?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how my agents view me. And it doesn't matter. They don't care about my tasks. In fact, here's how results economy people think. If I could if the goal is to get to B, let me put it a different way. If the goal is to get to Z, then what task-oriented people think is I have to go B, C, D,
Right in
E,
order.
F, G, H, I, J. But a results economy person goes, well, hold on. If there's a way just to jump to Z, why wouldn't I jump to Z? Because the result is the thing that matters. If I can sell a house in 1 day, why would I want to take 6 months? That's stupid. And that's how they think. So we need to we still have to do the tasks, but we have to reorient our thinking to thinking like a commission-based person. What is the outcome that the person I'm serving actually needs?
Yes.
And how can I find a solution to get there as if I was only paid if I produced the result?
It elevates your thinking. It forces you to look up and look around rather than just at your own stuff.
And that's what I would call results economy mindset.
Yeah.
You're still a team member. Abbie, you still got a salary, right?
I hope so after this.
And that's what we want for our time and effort economy. And we
Yes.
want you to go home at 5 o'clock and we want you to be able to pick your kids up because that's what you signed up for. What we need, what we desire, what we will reward is when you do that with a results economy mindset. Because when you become a part of creating solutions, when you understand the mission and you don't get lost in the tasks, but you produce the outcomes, what you bring is value.
Yeah.
And all opportunity lies on the other side of value creation for us as a company and for our agents. So jump back in. Those are some
I was just going to
flags.
say, when staff members can change their way of thinking to embrace the results economy mindset and they start to think about how could we jump from A to L and they start to kind of think outside the box.
Jump for a fact finder.
All of a sudden our conversations get so cool. Like it is so fun to go talk to someone that maybe has always been very task oriented, but all of a sudden they've elevated their thinking enough to think, wait a second, there's a better way to do this. We can get to Z. But I thought, because I saw over the last 3 months, we did a lot of jumping. And when they can bring that to the table, all of a sudden it's like this light bulb goes off and all our conversations get that more
they
richer.
bring innovation, and they bring we evolve.
Value.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And ownership. And then their excitement about their job gets that much more enriched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Some of the things that I kind of came to mind was also no entitlement mindset. So it's very different showing up knowing that you're going to get paid bi-monthly versus like, I don't know, not expecting it, like wanting to create out value and wanting to have an outcome where everybody wins, everyone inside our walls. The other thing is like, I get to hire people, right? That's part of my job. I get to screen them. Some of what I look for is actually unique people that can live in these spaces. Mm-hmm. If you are super duper clock in, clock out, and that's your mindset, that can be challenging.
This is not a good place, probably.
Yeah, so
it's good here.
But it's a really unique opportunity, I think. And so we always talk about having like our agents, our rocket individuals. I think some of our staff kind of are too, but in the time effort economy.
Yeah.
It's an environment that forces you to grow and to be better. Because you're reading the Steve Jobs, the A player concept. If you're an A player, you want to be around other A players. Yeah. And not to say that the clock in, clock out is inherently worse, right? But like this environment forces you to shift to that, or you become uncomfortable.
Well, I'm not sure that it's, okay, I have to check myself on this. I was going to say, I'm not sure that it's better.
It just is, I think.
Well, it is us.
It's
like,
us. It's in this place. Other places fine, but this place there's not.
But then I'm like, I don't know if I can say that honestly, because I actually think it is better.
Well, yeah, of course we do.
But I have to start with the fact that this is who we are. There's no question. This is what it takes to win here.
Yes.
And so I think maybe the biggest point that I'm trying to make on this second topic is I want our team to understand what we value. Yeah. We use phrases like all opportunity lies on the side of value creation. And I think the more we can create clarity in people's minds, I think when they understand what our agents are going through, when they have empathy for the results economy team members, and then they start to develop this commission-based thinking, and they go, okay, hold on, how can I create value? Because I take on this, what do you say? It changes your thinking, right?
Yeah, your mindset changes.
I think what we give our staff is a roadmap or stepping stones or a path to thriving in this environment. Yeah. And then, I'll have to wrestle with that question. Is this better? It's certainly better for us because we are non-bureaucratic and we are an entrepreneurially minded company. And if that's not for you, it's not that you can't work here, but you're probably not going to thrive. Yeah. And so as much as possible, we want people to thrive.
We do.
And back to A players. If this isn't a place to thrive, then let's find you somewhere where you can.
Somewhere you can.
But to thrive here means understanding the results economy and developing a results economy mindset. So as we wrap up, maybe I'll give you all a chance, final thoughts on either of the two topics, but just your experience or your thoughts on this as a whole. Advice to our team. Let's start with, I'm scared to point. Who wants to start?
I can start. This is probably very personal. I love it just because I grew up with parents that were business owners. But I'm a low risk taker. So I was raised in the results economy mindset, and I firsthand experienced what it looked like. And I love coming alongside people, and to me, it's not a competition, but like I love watching our agents win and how I can play part of that. But me personally, I need the security of a paycheck. So to me, this is such a unique work environment to have the opportunity to be a time and effort employee and live in the results economy mindset. I love that. It's like the best of both worlds for me. Wow, that was hard to say.
And you're an athlete, so you've got that competitive drive in you. Yeah. So, that's a cool insight. Yeah. And it is a unique environment.
It is.
So
love
it.
I don't know.
Okay, so I'm just some thoughts here as we've been talking. I mean, it's interesting to hear everybody's opinions and thoughts about this because I'm forming even new thoughts in the moment.
I told you it'd be an interesting, like we're sitting around the campfire of this topic.
It's evolving.
Yeah.
But I'm realizing that one of the questions that I have really learned to be powerful for myself, but I love to hear staff members ask this or other people in life. What does winning look like? You're trying to get to the bottom of how do I know that I have achieved the task or whatever the mission is. And so I think that's a very powerful question. And I think that it's good to keep that top of mind whenever we're endeavoring to do something or coming up on a tough situation. What does winning look like at the end? So in our example of a listing needing to go up at the end of the day, obviously we know what the winning looks like, but also winning can be defined in that moment in building a relationship with that agent to trust us. So defining what those winning things are. And I guess the other buzzword that's going around in our staff right now is we're building these measurables that helps them really boil it down to this is how we measure. Not that your paycheck is tied to it, but if it was, we had to count the clicks, like Abbie said. Yeah. So it's just been interesting that kind of we've been on a natural progression anyways on how we can measure this mindset of owning an outcome by giving a measurable or understanding what that result looks like. So I don't know how many further thoughts on that. It's just something that I formed here.
Well, what just popped in, so it's not just winning for our clients, our agents, it's also winning for you as staff.
Yeah.
So like you also, like, how can you get your task done in a timely manner while they get their listing up or whatever? I know that's the example that's flowing around, but it's not just winning for our clients, it's winning for you as well. What does winning look like? Yeah.
I wish I'd gone first because you both touched on things that I wanted to say. So now it just sounds like I'm repeating, but I really liked what you said, Vic. That's actually, I was thinking about this yesterday, is it feels like we get to live in both.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking about this yesterday, like, wow, I get the space to be super creative.
And you're a 3. You're an achiever that wants to win.
I get to be super creative, and it's okay if I mess up because I'm still going to get a paycheck, even if we don't get any clicks. You know what I mean? It's not okay. I would die. But you do get the best of both being where we are, right? And it provides I keep, as you guys are talking, I keep thinking LRC. Yeah. You keep saying creativity to come up with solutions with people, agents and our teammates, relationship building. You get to provide leadership in your space no matter what your role is. Like shifting your mindset here creates that context to provide LRC, to develop it, to learn it. And I hate to bring everything back to agency, but like you have that control, right? Like you get to create success with that mindset. So I don't know if that sums it up well or not, but it's a really cool in-between space to be. If you're okay with the gray, it's super fun, actually, to be in between the two.
#agency.
Always agency.
That is your word for the year.
That's my calling.
I love that.
It's my life calling.
I'll buy you a shirt.
She likes shirts.
I do like
Note
merch.
it. Note it.
Agency, I am the captain of my ship.
Yep.
And I get to decide my own outcomes.
Yep. Even in the time effort economy.
I don't think that there's a world that isn't a results economy. I think what I've realized from this conversation is that the distinction is just one of time. Your whole life, agency.
Time and will to do it, yeah.
And where you land is a function. Yes, we start at different places. Yes, some of us have disadvantages when we start. Yes, we all get dealt different hands. But at the end of the day, despite our different starting points, you are where you are. Nobody cares where you started. Yeah. Are you willing to do what you need to do to go create the life that you want to create? And so for agents, that's very imminent. It's a sale or not a sale. But I think for team members, for employees, for time and effort economy, human beings living in a world where they're trying to make some money, pay the bills, save some money, go on vacations, raise a family, and win in life. I think that comes down to the same principles. And maybe that's the closing thought for me is at the end of the day, the 2 success decisions apply to staff just as much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, if it is to be, are you willing to be the captain of your own ship?
Yeah.
Are you willing to take personal responsibility for your own outcomes? Yeah. If your job sucks, get a better one.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do what you're supposed to do, ask the question, stupid. And because at the end of the day, you get to decide where you land, and you can blame anyone you want, but it's not going to matter.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go down blaming everybody,
Yep.
and then Secondly, don't expect.
Yeah.
Don't have any entitlement. No entitlement thinking is the key. So I love this. We're going to do a lot of these conversations.
They're fun.
Need lots of campfire wood.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I'm sure that there'll be some agents listening in as well. But for our staff, we want you to understand the idea.
Yeah.
Because I think when you understand this idea, it's fuel and it's a pathway. And like we say repeatedly, what we want is for everyone here to thrive. So appreciate you listening in. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you.
insights.
Great.
We'll do it again.